Welcome, Rattler fans, to a special edition of Talkin Rattlers, where the banter is never out of season. Of course, yours truly, David Tovar. Chad Peters with us. And Rattlers improved to 10-2, beating Tarleton State 8-2. You're looking live at Nelson Wolff Stadium. We have a jam-packed show for you. We're talking basketball, softball, baseball, center fielder Billy Richard with us, the Heartland Conference Hitter of the Week.
And a little bit of Jeremy Lin. What would the Talkin Rattlers be without some Lin sanity?
I think we're the only sports show that hasn't done Jeremy Lin yet, but we're doing it today. Talkin Rattlers, stay with us, where the banter is never out of season on Rattlers Ustream Live.
So Res Live thought that we'd try to build some more morale in the halls, and well, we thought, why not use the Rowdy Rattlers?
One more minute! 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 Where's your key at? Where's your key at?
We still have a few kinks to work out, but I like where we're going.
And welcome back, Rattler fans. I am Joe Rodriguez, joined at this time by center fielder Billy Richard. Billy, victorious today, 8-2, the score, 10-2, the record overall now. What were your thoughts on the game?
I felt like we played well. The bats came alive finally. We're starting to hit the baseball. Pitching's holding up as usual. So, I mean, it's all coming together.
A bit of a strange game, too. You saw 8 pitchers out of Tarleton, including a triple play.
Yeah, we don't ever see a triple play. Yeah, the 8 pitchers was something was new to us today, but we handled it like the Rattlers normally do.
Yep. It's never always seeing something new in baseball. And then Heartland Conference Hitter of the Week last week. Is there anything in particular that you did last week, or did you just get hot at the right time?
I was just trying to see the baseball and figure out what it is and where it was going and where I could hit it. And it all worked out well.
All right. Now, Billy, I don't know if you know this. I've said this in the broadcast a couple times. You're quickly becoming my favorite player on the Rattlers. I just like the way that you're able to lead off the game. What is your mindset when you go into the plate and leading off for the Rattlers?
Well, when I step up to the plate for the first at bat of the game, I try to work the count. I want to see some pitches. I want the guys behind me to see some pitches. And when I feel like I've seen enough pitches, I try to find one I can handle, and I try to put it on a line somewhere. Just try to barrel it up.
All right. And then also, are there any thoughts that you have later on in the season? Anything you guys are planning to do? What are you looking for out of the rest of the season?
We're looking to stay hot, keep the bats going, keep the pitching well, and just come out with as many W's as we can. We actually want to beat our record of last year.
All right. And a very impressive record it was. Heartland Conference champions last year. Looking to become the, well, I don't know if you've heard this, but Muchagimba said that he thought you guys could become the national champions this year.
Yeah.
Do you think that you guys are capable of doing that?
That's always what we're striving for. And all we have to do is take it one game at a time. We keep playing like we did tonight. It's definitely a possibility.
All right. Well, thank you so much for being on with us, Billy.
Appreciate it.
Enjoyed having you. Is there anything you'd like to say to the Rattler fans at home?
I do. I'd like to say just come out and see some games. We love the support. We love the fans. And it's a lot of fun out here at the ballpark. Nelson Wolff's taking care of us. It's a really great field. It's a big stadium. We could use a lot of people out here.
All right. Now, I'm Joe Rodriguez. This is Billy Richard, and we'll be back. We're on Ustream Live.
So Res Live thought that we'd try to build some more morale in the halls, and well, we thought, why not use the Rowdy Rattlers?
One more minute! 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 Shut up! Shut up! Shut up! Shut up! Shut up!
We still have a few kinks to work out, but I like where we're going.
And welcome back, Rattler fans. David Tovar, Chad Peters rejoining you, and maybe not as entertaining as Billy and Joe, but we'll try our best. Chad, you saw it right there. The baseball team improving to 10-2, and one of the big reasons is your Harlan Conference Hitter of the Week, Billy Richard.
Yeah, and Billy had talked about last week to Robin Johnson in the game story, saying this team needs is the hitters to come around because the pitching has been there and the hitting's coming around. And you're seeing that tonight. Brandon Bates went 3 for 5 against Tarleton State, drove in 4 runs. Just everybody in the lineup. The top 4 hitters, or the top 5 hitters actually, each made base in each of their first 3 at bats tonight, one way or the other, via a hit, a walk, a fielder's choice, an error, something. So, I mean, the guys are getting on base, and really what's been carrying the season, what's been anchoring this team up until then has been the pitching staff.
Yeah.
And you look at some of the guys, and it's just ridiculous what these guys are doing.
Facebook.com/St. Mary's Rattlers posted an interesting stat, a mind-blowing stat. The ERAs, 3 of our main pitchers, not even at 1.
Yeah, Jonathan Perez coming in this year as the closer, replacing Sammy Rivas, the All-American closer. You thought no one could ever do what Sammy did, and his protege coming in and doing a good job of trying to be a facsimile of Sammy himself. Whoa. Yeah, big word, Talkin Rattlers. And the night debut of Talkin Rattlers, debuting also the big vocab. But he's got a 0.
That's another mind-blowing stat right in there. A mind-blowing word.
He's got a 0.0 ERA this season. 7 saves. He might break Sammy's record, which is just unthinkable considering what the guy did last year. You've got .86 ERA with Rene Solis, who struck out 14 last weekend against Texas Permian Basin. And then Carl O'Neill right at about 1 as well. Yeah. Carl O'Neill this season kind of under the radar a little bit. The guy hasn't lost a game, has hardly given up any runs at all. Pitched a complete game shutout this past weekend with 7 strikeouts, and he's your guy that's kind of flying a little bit under the radar. This pitching staff on fire.
Yeah, you said it. The pitching really being the anchors, and we've talked about the offense almost ad nauseum how good they are. I mean, you got the Rattlers row of Meagle, Kokonos, Bates really coming into his own. I mean, he had some huge RBIs. This team is a force to be reckoned with. We've said it again. It was our 4th episode or episode 5. It's our 5th episode for 5 straight weeks. We've been telling you this team is truly the team to beat.
Yeah, ranked 8th in the nation, and one of the recent polls that came out today, we've been as high as 4 this year. A 10-2 baseball team. Like Billy was saying, if you haven't come out to the Wolf to see this team play yet, you're missing some good baseball and a good show. So
Nelson Wolf.
Yeah, support the Rattlers.
Right here in San Antonio, Nelson Wolf, gorgeous, where the San Antonio Missions play. If you're not familiar with the Missions, they're a minor league team. I think double A
affiliate of the San Diego Padres. Interesting little subplot there as we segue maybe into the softball team.
Indeed.
As well, Shelly Lee Zawadsky, married to a former Mission. Lance Zawadsky, who's still in the big leagues, trying his way around with some of the minor league teams. So a lot of kind of tie-ins between all these teams. And also the son-in-law of Coach Charlie Meagle is Carlos. He's married to his daughter, Katie Meagle, and Guevara, Katie Meagle Guevara now. And they just had their first baby, so Coach Meagle, a grandfather. But the story there is that Carlos actually pitched for the Missions.
Wow.
And also part of the Padres organization. So a lot of tie-ins here between the Wolf Stadium, the Missions, and your St. Mary's Rattlers.
Indeed. And, well, as you mentioned, softball. Softball taking a world tour of sorts, maybe a nationwide tour. They were in Florida this past weekend.
Yeah, beat the number 19th ranked team in the country, Tampa. Emily Britton struck out 10 in a 1-0 shutout down there. They went 3-1 overall in the tournament. Vidrine coming in this season as a freshman out of O'Connor High School here in San Antonio, lighting it up. Was a Player of the Week nominee, did not quite get it, I don't think, but was up there for the bidding this weekend, and had just a phenomenal showing, filling in as that DH for the Lady Rattlers. Yeah, the softball team doing some great things as well.
And they'll be back finally in town. Hopefully, I believe next week.
And that game has actually been switched to an away game, so we won't see the ladies until early March, about March 5th,
keeping
March 6th.
them from us.
It's kind of you get to unwrap the present later on. The team's going to come back home here, be a polished squad, because I really think that 1-0 blanking of Tampa, I think, is going to do wonders for them.
Yeah.
Because you've seen the pitching staff, Viana Gutierrez coming in as a freshman, Mari Bassaro doing what she did last year, Emily Britton. All these girls are coming together, but you're seeing a team formed. I really think that road trip and these road trips is putting this collection of talent into something special as a cohesive unit. And I think when they come back home finally, we're going to have something pretty good to watch.
Yeah, we're saving our best for last, especially on the broadcasting terms. And finally, we are making our way around the Rattler bases. Basketball in full swing. We are down to our last week of conference play, actually to our last game. That is on the 25th. Both teams, they'll be over in Laredo A&M International. And the hype building for that game was huge, of course. A loss on Saturday, just a heartbreaker, as Sandufu's 3 is waved away. Well, the game is still huge. It can be the difference between a 2 and 3 seed.
Yeah.
So always very important. We won't get to see them back here inside Bill Gree Arena, but they do have a tremendous shot to go and win the Heartland Conference tournament. And the Rattlers, despite losing Saturday, still the men's team, still one of the hottest teams in the conference.
Yeah, I think the meaning for Saturday, too, is you go into the building, you know where you're going to be playing the Heartland Conference tournament. It is down there in Laredo.
It'll be
gym.
tournament atmosphere already.
Yeah, and you go in there and you make a statement. I mean, you have a chance to upset, if you will, Tammy U in their building in a potential showcase of what you're going to see in the tournament itself.
Yeah,
so the Rattlers,
and they might meet again.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think just to start building that momentum back up, this is a good team the Rattlers have. You saw that on the road down there against Fort Smith. They lost in overtime. You mentioned Sandufu's shot in overtime. Final seconds ticks away. He banks in the three-pointer, but it's waved off. And officials had to look at that film forever.
Yeah.
I mean, we were watching the live broadcast online, and they were watching for about 5 minutes trying to determine if he got that thing off or not.
Yeah.
I don't know even if after 5 minutes of watching it, if they knew.
Concrete evidence. You're right.
And so we're that close.
After 8 years, I still don't know if Derek Fisher's .4 was concrete. It helps me sleep at night. And then and then staying with basketball, segueing over to the women. I mean, they're in the tournament, and who would have thought? And we've talked about this for for our duration here on Talkin Rattlers. 1-9, they improved to 7-3 on the next 10, and they are right in the thicket of it in the conference play.
Yeah, and they had that big win against Newman, and they did it on our home gym. That's what we'll be playing the women's tournament over in Wichita, Kansas here. Not this weekend, but the following weekend.
Oh.
So you know that you can beat them. And then the ladies had a 13-point lead against Fort Smith there in Arkansas. They did let it get away, but again, if you can build a 13-point lead against a team, you can match up against them. And Fort Smith, no doubt, is the tougher matchup out of the teams for our Lady Rattlers. But you've already shown to yourselves that you can handle them. You just got to finish the deal. So I think both teams do go into their respective tournaments, regardless of what happens this weekend in Laredo, having to feel confident about what can happen.
Indeed, and those the final regular season games are on the 25th. That's this Saturday. They'll be over in Laredo against A&M International, and then the Heartland Conference tournament will be starting the week after. So it'll be the March the 1st and 2nd, one of those. Of course, the official dates, check out rattlerathletics.com. We'll take a little break here, and upcoming is our foray, our venture. We're gonna take our stab at it. Linsanity, Talkin Rattlers, where the banter is never out of season on Ustream Live.
Hey, it's okay. My bad. It's a draft. I'm sorry. Sorry.
Welcome back, Rattler fans. This is Talkin Rattlers, where the banter is never out of season. Chad Peters, David Tovar with you, and we've been teasing it all show long. Linsanity has hit Talkin Rattlers. Chad, I gotta admit, I gotta tell you, I wasn't huge on Jeremy Lin. Honestly, I thought he was a flash in the pan. I was like, okay, this guy's gonna cool off. I'm a believer. I don't know if you saw the Mavericks game on Sunday.
Oh, yeah. It was incredible.
It was sensational, and the shot he hit over Dirk.
Yeah,
now I was sold.
Yeah.
That's a tough shot against the Finals MVP, a former MVP, and he stepped up and took it with no fear. Lin, the man.
Yeah, he really is. And I think what's funny, I was listening to the radio, hearing people talk about him, and you start hearing all these qualifications, all these caveats of, oh, well, there's still, 5 or 6 point guards in the league better.
Yeah.
And he's not the best defender, And you hear all these things he can't do, and it's like, okay, yeah, maybe he's not the best defender. Steve Nash won a couple of MVPs not being a great defender.
Yeah, and he's not noted for his D at all.
Yeah, and this guy's also 10 games into his career, so he's not the best point guard in the league yet.
Yeah.
Okay.
And then last night, Deron Williams ate him up for 38. But, I mean,
yeah,
Deron is a top 2 point guard.
It took 8 3-pointers to do it. I mean, how often is Williams going to hit 8 3-pointers?
Not exactly a 3-point shooter, but, I mean, now that Knicks team is scary, I think is the most important thing. And I think that's the thing that's most likable about Jeremy Lin in the same sense of Tim Tebow.
Yeah.
He's not out for himself. He's out for the team. And that team is formidable now. You got Lin, and you got Landry Fields, and you got Tyson, and, of course, Amari, and the returning Carmelo Anthony. Is there going to be friction there? Of course. They haven't played with each other. Wade and LeBron didn't exactly hit it off right off the bat last year. But, I mean, incredible talents like Lin and Melo and Stoudemire, they're going to get it together.
And it's almost the latter two of that trio that I'm more worried about, in the sense that I don't know if Amari's ever really quite justified the contract, justified the superstar status he gets. I think Carmelo, a great scorer, but I think he's a guy who historically his teams tend to win more without him than with him. Look at the Nuggets.
How well they've done.
And then the Knicks, I mean, they were, 8 and 15-ish before, with Melo. He goes out, and they suddenly go on this winning streak.
Yeah, they go on a
great scorer, but I don't know that he's ever really been on winning teams. So I'm concerned a little bit there. But Lin, you mentioned what's to like about him. I think he's someone, too, that Rattler fans could relate to.
Yeah.
He's a highly educated individual, first of all, with a Harvard background. You can tell the scholastics matters to him. Mm-hmm. And then secondly, very faithful, very religious, loves to, give, praise to God after interviews, much like Tebow.
Indeed.
And just someone that I think you can fall in love with as an athlete. Yeah. I heard a funny story. I don't know if you saw this one last night after the game, but Chris Humphries, of course, the reality star, from, the minute marriage to Kim Kardashian. After the game, Lin actually approached him in the locker room, in the hallway, and said, "Hey, I don't know why all the fans boo you. I think it's kind of junk that they do that, because you're a good player. I like you a lot. I respect you." And who does that?
Yeah.
Who goes up?
He's kind of still a fan.
Yeah, he's just a good guy.
He's trapped in his fandom as a star.
Yeah.
That's very impressive. And it got us talking before we went on air. Who could possibly be a Jeremy Lin on our Rattler teams? I mean, who can be that star, that diamond in the rough that we haven't found? And I'll let you take your shot at it first.
We'll start with the baseball diamond, and I think we got a sneak peek of him tonight, possibly. Mario Maldonado is a guy I'm curious about. Second base, there's no doubt that's been a spot on this team that they've kind of tried a lot of guys at. And he's someone I've heard a lot of good things about. In fact, we got a call from some people in Laredo even trying to hype up this Tammy U St. Mary's basketball game, and they told us, hey, we'll be back in touch with you about Mario. We're excited. All of Laredo is excited about him. I think he has a great following there from his high school days growing up there. People know who he is. I think Rattler fans might soon know who he is as well.
I'm going to go and keep it in Jeremy Lin's sport, men's basketball. Isaiah Matthews.
Yeah.
We've seen him play. We saw him play a lot at the beginning of the year. But, the guy is a physical talent.
Yeah.
If you catch him on a court, you watch him practice, he's fast, he can jump high, he's aggressive, rebounds. He has a touch for a 6'5", wing / post, and they play him in the post. He's got touch. You run a couple plays for him, you set a couple back screens, and he can be jumping out the gym.
Yeah, you're totally right about that. And early in the season, he was the spark plug off the bench. Mm-hmm. He hasn't gotten quite as few many minutes here lately, but he's starting to get those minutes back again. Wouldn't be surprised at all if he's one of those guys to watch in the tournament.
Indeed.
And on the women's team, I think the Big O.
Oh,
before she might have been the Jeremy Lin before Jeremy Lin.
Indeed.
She's one of the highest. She's I think the highest scoring player off the bench for the Lady Rattlers. Mm-hmm. And all of a sudden, we've talked about, if you've watched this during the basketball broadcast, excuse me here, we've talked before about during the season early on, it was almost like she was a little bit of a, I don't want to say a token player, but a novelty in the sense that you knew her because of her cool nickname. Mm-hmm. You knew her because she was such a nice person. She was loved by her teammates so much.
So many cool anecdotes about her.
Yeah. But her play, she didn't really play that much. And all of a sudden, she's out there scoring 15, getting 15 and 8 in games.
And suddenly she's she comes off the bench, and then she comes off the bench in tandem. Yeah. And then she's a six man.
Yeah, I think the player off the bench for the Lady Rattlers, the only player with legitimate size, 6'2", by far the tallest player on the team.
I like that.
She's someone to watch.
The Jeremy Lin before Jeremy Lin, we had her.
Yeah. The Big O. I really like her game, and she's only a sophomore. So she's someone who, much like Jeremy Lin.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll get to see much of her as well. Now, we talked Jeremy Lin, we talked basketball. We got the NBA All-Star game upcoming.
Yeah.
Of course, we had the Pro Bowl first, nobody watches the Pro Bowl. We're not covering the Pro Bowl. But I don't know about you. I know we caught All-Star Weekend last year.
Yeah.
And what's your favorite event? You got the dunk contest, the skills challenge, the three-point shootout.
I think it's still the dunk contest, even though it's been watered down. I mean, of course, last year wasn't watered down. But in terms of the name
choir,
talent, yeah.
the choir coming out the car.
Okay. But it was memorable, though.
Oh, absolutely.
I think that's my standpoint. I do wish you'd have the LeBron compete. I wish, I think Kobe's obviously way past his prime to do that, but I'd always dreamed of that year where they'd bring back Vinsanity, have him come in there, Vince Carter come in and compete against LeBron.
You mean the guy who stole Linsanity's gimmick?
and Kobe have a true all-star effect. Because back in the day, you had the Hall of Fame
MJ,
talent.
Dominique, Clyde.
It wasn't the first year dunk contest. So I think that's missing a little bit. I wish Blake Griffin would defend his title.
Oh, yeah,
try to show something, what else he's got in his bag of tricks.
Yeah, maybe a truck this time. Now, I'm going to go off the wall here, and I like the Shooting Stars competition. Now, of course, you might need to take a minute, pause the video, Google it, but the Shooting Stars is the one that comes out like at 7. I think it's the first event they do, and it's where they have the different spots on the court. They have the spot by the rim, by the elbow, on the corner, and then the one in the half court. And watching professional ball players at the half court hoisting up shots and just watching them fail and maybe one hits, and it's usually the WNBA player, which totally makes everything just even more awesome. And if you put Jeremy Lin out there, I think he can knock it out in one shot. Him and Tebow, I think, in a heave can do it. But I think that's my favorite event of All-Star Weekend. I like that better than the dunk contest. I think the dunk contest is I think it's run its course. In TV talk, it's jumped the shark. So I think it literally a lot of jumping. Maybe dunk contest jumped the car.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, the Shooting Stars, I think it should go last. I think the three-point contest, we've seen three-pointers been knocked down. Yeah.
And the celebrity game is gaining
celebrity.
That's kind of fun.
That's one of my favorites, absolutely. And I'm a little. I think it should go before the rookie-sophomore game.
Yeah.
And I should go after, I should say. I'm sorry. It goes before that game. But, yeah, it airs Friday nights, and it should be on Friday. I think it's the 6th. And, we've seen many great performances. I remember as a kid, Bow Wow and Nelly were the standouts. A couple years, I think maybe 2 years ago, Justin Bieber.
Joe's nodding his head in agreement.
Joe's doing the Bieber dance right now. But Bieber was the man. This year, what I am excited for, though, is that rookie-sophomore challenge. This year, they're going to mix up the teams, and they're going to have Shaq and Charles Barkley coach it. That should be a lot of fun. And it's only going to be fun if they mic them up. Now, I don't know how much you can really get out of them when they're mic'd up, but that should be interesting indeed. NBA All-Star Weekend, would you say is probably the best All-Star event done by all the sports?
Like without a doubt, yeah. I think baseball, I think the Home Run Derby still has some power.
Yeah. And I like the All-Star game as well on baseball. It's on a weeknight. You can watch it. NHL.
The NBA though, has a lot more just pizzazz to it.
Oh, yeah.
It's more of a spectacle. I think.
I think, honestly, they dress up the All-Star game better than they do their NBA Finals.
I agree.
Their stars come out. The city is dressed up. Just so much revenue goes into that. Moreover than the finals.
Well, and the city has so long. In that sense, it's almost like the Super Bowl. The city has so long to be able to prep for it. Whereas the finals, you have a few days after the conference finals to really know you're hosting something.
True.
So I think that probably plays a little bit of that.
But the All-Star game, the Super Bowl is the championship of the NFL. It gets sparkle. But the All-Star game, it's just it shines brighter than any other event in the NBA does. But no Jeremy Lin, so it's not legit.
At least he's in the rookie-sophomore game.
Is he?
Yeah, he was the last minute. Stern said no, and then they added him to it.
Well, they better have
had him.
He
was like the second pick behind Griffin or something.
Oh, really? And no Tiago. Third pick. We're getting that from our producer, Joe. No Tiago. For any Spurs fans out there, no Tiago.
No Tiago.
So, well, I think we've pretty much covered Linsanity. I'm on the bandwagon.
I'm on.
I'm sold. Let's bring our Lin jerseys next show. Well, Rattler fans, that will do it. A live impromptu edition of Talkin Rattlers, where the banter is never out of season. We'd like to thank Billy Richard for joining us, the hitter of the week in the Heartland Conference, our center fielder. Joe Rodriguez, sensational job out there. The man, Chad Peters. I'm David Tovar, reminding you that basketball closes out the regular season. Baseball continues here at Nelson Wolf on Friday and Saturday. Softball should be back in town eventually. Let them back. And catch us, RattlerAthletics.com. Now we'll wrap it up. Chad Peters, David Tovar, Talkin Rattlers, where the banter is never out of season on Rattlers Ustream Live.